welcome to the video. I am super excited because I am filming a contest prep Q&A, and right now I'm actually at my parents' house and I'm actually trying to find the lighting, and I'm like, this is absolutely spot on. And then I look in the background and I'm like, if my mum watches this video, she's going to shoot me for showing the fact that there's a little bit of mess in the house when honestly it's really clean, but she will think that it's messy. So I'm going to find myself a little spot to sit up and get comfortable with my coffee, and let's get into it and start answering some questions. Alright guys, so I've set myself up on the couch, which suits me just fine because I am nice and comfortable here, ready to answer some questions. I did post to my Instagram story just asking you guys what you would like to know in terms of contest prep and I guess just me in general. So I have quite a significant amount of questions to get through. So I'm going to pick and choose my favorite ones, and we'll see how we go for time. I may even film the whole lot and do a part A and part B. We will see how I go with the editing. So, alrighty, let's fund these questions. Okie doke. So, I think I'm just going to go in and get started. This is kind of odd actually, sitting here ready to answer some questions too and talking to a camera. But let's go. So, what are your HIIT sessions like? It's a good question. My HIIT sessions are like death. At the moment, I'm only doing 2 a week, but I do 2 a week year round, basically all through my off season as well. So it's part of my baseline cardio. So my HIIT sessions at the moment, I do 10 minutes of LISS, and then I follow it up with 10 minutes of HIIT and then 10 minutes of LISS to end it out as well. So the HIIT is 15 seconds on, 45 seconds off. That 15 seconds on doesn't sound like a lot. It sounds like not much going hard and a heap of off, but that 15 seconds, you go absolutely pedal to the metal, 110% effort, give it everything you've got so that when you hit that 15-second mark, you are so ready to stop. And by the time you get to the 10th sprint, you want it to be over. 10 is plenty. So that's what my HIIT is like. It's brutal, but it is awesome. Straight or curled? Ha! This is amusing. I have worn both straight hair and curly hair on stage, and I wore it straight since October 2016. And last year, for some reason, we decided to try out the curls and just see whether it might have softened out my physique, or created, I don't know, just if it was going to look better than straight. And I wore it sort of wavy-ish, like very loose straightener curls for the first time I wore it curly, and I didn't mind it. It actually looked quite nice. After that, I got it done for New Zealand and for Arnold's. For Arnold's, for some reason, don't ask me why, how, I got it done by a hairdresser, and she did them really tight, assuming that they would drop. And because I had the halo hair extension piece in, they didn't drop, and they were really tight. And I look back on photos, and because I wasn't happy with my physique and my conditioning, and I was already a little bit puffy, add the curls into a girl with a round face, looked horrendous. Like, I will never wear curls. Never say never. I am not going to be wearing curls on stage anytime soon. I am going back to dead straight hair. As you would have seen, guys, if you've watched my hair extension vlog, the most recent one, I had straight hair. I'm going to pop a photo up here so you can see what it looks like versus the curls look like. And the straight is just, it's my jam. And my hair is naturally dead straight. So 100% straight, not doing curls again. Yuck, it just looked terrible. Ooh, what color am I wearing? You know what? I don't usually keep my bikini color a surprise. I don't hide it as a general rule, but I can't tell you what color it is because I genuinely don't know what color I'm going to be wearing. I haven't decided yet. I already have 3 at home that I could choose from, and I'm getting another one made. So I've got the aqua one that I've worn in the past. I have the purple one that everyone thinks is blue, but it's not, it's purple, that I wore for nationals last year. And so it's a purple material, but it has some blue crystals on it, which is why the confusion. And I also have a royal blue one at home, and I'm getting a mulberry one made. So I don't know. I probably won't even decide until show day, let's be honest, or the day before. It would depend on how I look on the day and what we decide is going to look the nicest with the package that I've brought. So yeah, I tell you, but I actually have no idea. How are you feeling towards the comp in regards to recent placings last weekend? Now, when I put the questionnaire up, it was the following week after the mid-year pro qual, which the end result of that show was quite controversial. My girl Taylor won the tall class, and another girl, a first timer, Elif, won the short class, and she ended up taking the overall and earning the bikini pro card at her first ever comp. And it was very controversial because I don't want to get into this political crap, but basically Elif wasn't as tight as Taylor, and there was some debate as to whether Elif's conditioning was where it should have been. Now, personally, I'm a fan of conditioning. I think that you need to be in condition. The judges are always saying that we don't need to be super lean, etc. But if you look at the top 5 girls at the Olympia, they're shredded. They're actually super, super lean. Even Angelica is super lean. And you can't achieve that look without being lean. The catch there, though, is that you still need to be full. You need to carb up properly. So basically, that's why it was controversial. In regards to how I'm feeling towards my comp, obviously in the back of my mind, I have that little bit of stress as like, well, the package that I'm bringing, is it actually going to be what they want, what they're looking for? However, I had to remind myself, and my coach had to remind me too, that we need to bring a package that is deserving of a pro stage, which is something that I personally am striving to achieve, is that look. And that's how I personally want to look on stage, and that's how I personally think that the girls should look on stage. And therefore, all I can do is bring my absolute best that I perceive as my best, take the judges' feedback, see how I go. Obviously, I have one show, sorry. I have 2 shows in October, and I have the state show to compete, and then 2 weeks following that is nationals. So I'm going to have that 2-week period in between shows to make any adjustments that we need to. So if I come in and they say I'm too hard, that's easy. I'll just eat up. If they like my level of conditioning and I just need to be full, then I'll carb up harder. So, you know, I'm content knowing that I'm going to bring my best, and that's all we can ever do as competitors, is bring our best physique to the stage and hope that's what the judges are after. If it's not, then get their feedback and work and be willing to work on your physique and make the adjustments that they're asking for. So that's the plan for me. It is what it is. I know what I want to look like, and I know what the bikini pros look like, and I'm gonna do my best to bring something that the judges are looking for. How many calories am I on? Now, this is an interesting question because I actually couldn't tell you. Now, I let Troy take care of that. I think that, Troy being my coach, I think that a lot of girls get way too caught up in calories and the amounts of food that they're eating and the numbers. And yes, you can be eating far too little. And that can often happen with inexperienced coaches, or girls think that they just need to cut calories in order to peak properly. I also think that calories are a very individual and personalized thing. It's not something that I would like to share, honestly, unless it was off season, to explain to you where you should be able to get your calorie intake in an off season. But I really don't think that in prep sharing calories is going to be sharing my calories is going to be beneficial for you. So I'll let Troy take care of that. But even if I did know, I wouldn't share. All I know is I've been really hungry, which is probably a good thing because metabolism means that my metabolism is firing. I'm really far ahead for my prep for October, which is fantastic. And in a future vlog, I'm going to talk about where I'm at with my diet, because we're about to do a diet break as well. So I'll talk about that in a future vlog. But yeah, that's my view on sharing calories. how many meals a day. So back on the same topic, at the moment I'm eating 6 meals a day. So my carbs are spaced between my meal 1 and my pre and post workout. And then the other 3 are a variety of protein, a protein source and veg, and some fats as well. In regards to this prep to others, how is it different? So I like this question. I think every single prep is different. Obviously, I have changed coaches recently. This is my first prep with Troy. And I think this prep, the major difference that I'm finding is it's longer. So generally in the past, I have done anywhere from 8 to 12 week preps, whereas this time with Troy, I have done a 20-week prep. Actually, no, I probably really started officially focusing on these shows at about 22 weeks out. Now, this is just to allow more time. Troy would rather his clients come in and be ready early so that we can reverse into a show, or, you know, being ready early, less stress, much more ideal situation. So it's been a longer prep. That's what I have noticed so far. The other thing is that my training volume is massively increased. So instead of doing 20 to 25 sets of workout, I'm more around the 30 to 40 sets per workout range. And I am finding not only am I staying fuller because I'm training that volume, I feel like I'm even growing into this show. So which is really what you want. And a lot of people will argue with that and say that it's not possible, but I think that the visual results speak for themselves. I'm not going to go into that right now, but basically, yeah, training volume and the length of the prep are the 2 big differences that I'm noticing. Are you having cheats or refeeds? The answer to that question is definitely not cheat meals. That is definitely not on the cards for me as long as I have Troy as a coach. Cheat meals are not his thing. He prefers to incorporate structured refeeds and diet breaks. Diet breaks meaning increasing calories for an extended period of time, but with clean foods or similar foods to what you're eating in your prep. This is just to take care of your digestion. Obviously, if you've been eating meat, veg, sweet potato, rice, pumpkin, etc. throughout your prep, and then you go and throw in a cheat meal and the competitor goes and gorges on chocolate or burgers or pizza or whatever it is that they decide to eat, can totally mess with your digestion. Your body's not used to actually processing this kind of food. It's not nutrient dense. And on top of that too, when you're in a deficit and your body is under as much stress as it is during a prep, and then you go and throw something like that in, there's not really much point. Yes, you get the calories in. Yes, it's going to have fun boosting your leptin levels, get your metabolism kickstarted again. However, when your body's under so much stress and you're getting to the point of unhealthily lean, why would you not want to take that opportunity to put more nutritious, nutrient-dense food into your diet? Like it makes no sense to go and purposely, intentionally stuff, or I guess play Russian roulette with your digestive system. And I don't think that it's a good thing to do, but yes, so definitely not cheat meals for me. Refeeds, yes. I hadn't had one for a few weeks, but every couple of weeks he's been giving me a higher carb day. And then, like I said previously, I will be doing a diet break, which I'll explain in a future vlog. What have you focused on improving for this comp? And I'm going to tie that in with the question, what changes are you hoping to bring with your physique to this comp? My physique, we have put a massive amount of volume into my glutes. Now, a lot of people would say that my glutes were really good beforehand anyway, but I really don't think that you can have enough glute. It's such a focus in bikini. Like, I don't think that you can really have too much glute. I think you can definitely have too much quad, too much shoulder, etc., but not glutes. So what we focused on doing was growing my glute, specifically glute max, well, all round, to be honest. And we had massive success with this in like an express kind of off-season eating phase. And I smashed glutes nearly every single day and ate a lot of food and trained really hard for quite a few weeks. And we noticed some massive improvements to my overall glute size, especially my side glute, which is what we want. We also focused on improving my outer hamstring. So that outer hamstring sweep, so that, for example, in my side transitions, we get that nice hamstring sweep showing, and I'm really, really happy with that. On top of that, my shoulders 100% needed work, and they have definitely come up. The focus has mostly been on my anterior delt, so my front delt here. So we incorporated a little bit of chest training, but like focusing on shoulders with that. And I definitely think that they've come up. The main goal now leading into the show will be that fullness. So the main difference between my last physique and this physique is, well, I'm going to peak properly this time. Last time there was just some issues with my peaking and I ended up quite watery on stage and very puffy. I think just back to back shows just took a massive toll on my physique. This time I will be bringing in the conditioning, yo. Oh my God. So I was probably 3 to 4 kilos off where I should have been at Arnold's. And this show, there is no way that's going to happen. So we're going to see one shredded little bean over here, but also full, as well as just that improvement with my hamstrings, glutes and shoulders. And also my posing has just skyrocketed. I have been working so incredibly hard on my posing routine. I've been practicing every single day. I have had help from both Troy and Renee Garner. She's an IFBB Bikini Pro based in Perth, or in WA near Perth, and that was awesome. So I took a lot out of that lesson and then incorporated it in with the routine that I had been working on, and I am very happy with my posing. So yeah, they're the changes that we're going to see. Oh my goodness, we're already up to 18 minutes. So this is either going to be a really long video or I'm more than likely going to have to split it into 2. So next question is, what is your current training split? At the moment, well, my training split changes quite frequently. Troy is very OCD and he's of the opinion that things can always be improved, and therefore some days he will send me a training program and 3 days later he's decided that he's not happy with it and he'll adjust it again. So my training program has changed quite a lot in the last few months, but right at this moment in time, I am alternating between legs with glute ham focus and upper body being back and shoulders. I also incorporate a little bit of calf training on my upper body days. And that is just because I got these little baby calves. They're not tiny, but it's just one of those little things that they need to be big enough to sort of match my upper body and just balance out and create flow for my physique from top to bottom. Do I have a step count? No, I do not. I do structured cardio. I have nothing against those people who do step counts during prep instead of cardio. Cardio, I actually posted about this on my story the other day. It frustrates me. If you have a step count target, if you hit that in your normal daily activities at work, awesome. If you go above that, or you have to actually actively go and do a walk, get on the treadmill, or do physical activity, or just actively go and walk in order to get your steps up, it's cardio, people. Stop saying it's not cardio. You are increasing your energy output by walking more steps. It's cardio. Stop saying it's not. Stop saying you're not doing cardio. Oh my God, so frustrating. Triggered, totally triggered. But no, I don't have a step count. I find it intriguing to see how many steps I've done, but I do structured cardio. How often do you practice posing? I did mention that before. I practice my posing every single day, at least for a few minutes after my workout, sometimes for longer. But yeah, I've got lots of how supportive are people questions. Okay, so first one being, how supportive is your partner with competing? I am the luckiest girl in the entire world. You guys have no idea. I'm really fortunate that Dill has competed in the past. For those of you who don't know, Dylan is my fiance. He proposed to me in March just before Arnold's. So that's super exciting. I'm also wedding planning at the moment. Woohoo! But he has competed in the past. So it's kind of how we met. He contacted me because I was already competing and just asked me about comp. And yeah, I won't say much more on that in case you guys want me to do a boyfriend/fiance tag. If you want him to come on and do that, comment down below, because he really doesn't want to do it, but I would love him to. So yeah, in terms of support, he is really understanding of me competing and prepping because he's done it in the past. And look, Dill has been known to come to the gym with me to help me get through my cardio in the last few weeks. He's been known to meal prep and weigh out my food for me when I get home and I just can't be bothered, or I'm exhausted, or I physically can't do it. Now, this is in the past when I was working a job as well as prepping like a normal human. Now I'm fortunate enough that I work from home, and therefore I have more time in the day to do the meal prep, and I actually meal prep for him. He doesn't compete anymore, but just having that understanding of the feels during a prep is incredible. He's just, I'm very, very, very lucky. So the second supportive question was, how supportive are your friends? Now, I am also extremely lucky in this domain. Majority of my friends that I have now, because I've been in this industry for about four and a half years, are also competitors, and therefore extremely supportive. In fact, the girl who asked this is one of my biggest supporters, Dale. Shout out to you, you legend. But yes, most of the girls, most of my friends are in the competitive world, and therefore they're very supportive. Those that aren't, I guess they're just used to me prepping now, and therefore they're like my little mini cheer squad, and they are the bomb. How supportive is my family? At first, this was a very hard concept for my family to, I guess, wrap their head around what I was doing, and the fact that once I'd done it once, it wasn't done. That was like, I wanted to keep going with it. And I think mum was so used to me picking up hobbies and then going through a phase of doing it and then giving it away. And this is probably the first hobby that has turned into a career. Well, it is 100% the first hobby that has turned into a career, and that I have stuck with for a very consistent period of time. Like I said, about 4.5 years now. And yeah, so at first it was really hard for my family to wrap my heads around it. But we're a very sport orientated family, and therefore once they understood that that was it and I was going to continue to do it, they were awesome. Come around for dinner and mum will say, what can I cook for you? What veggies can I make you? Or if I cook this, can you eat it? And I'll bring my scales and weigh it out, or I'll just bring my own food, and they're completely used to it now. And the last one is, how supportive is my coach? Wow. That's all I can say is wow. Actually, no, I am going to elaborate. Troy is probably the most incredibly present coach that I know. I don't know anyone who has a coach more supportive than him. We have daily communication with Troy. I send through a check-in every single day, and that is something, as far as I'm aware, that all of his girls are required to do. We send a weight through every single day. I personally am sending a video every second day right now, and I have very frequent communication with him. He is OCD with all my programming. I go down and see him frequently. I'm very fortunate that this is the first time I've actually had a coach that I can physically go and see, and he's 2 hours down the road, and I can pop down to the gym and see him and check in person, and he is bomb. He's the bomb. He's so supportive. I'm very lucky again. What is it like training in your hometown gym? So we don't have very much available to us here in Colac in terms of gyms. I train at a Shire Council gym. It is like a rec centre, and honestly there's just a real lack of equipment there in comparison to the bigger gyms that you see in Melbourne. I'm very lucky that Melbourne is 2 hours from here, and I can pop down the highway every now and again to train. I personally wish that we had a bigger gym with more variety of equipment to train in. However, it's all that I've ever had available, and I think I'm an example of not using lack of equipment as an excuse for not building the physique that you want. You just adapt everything to work. I basically use barbells, cables and dumbbells for everything, and I've got a leg press, and more recently a squat machine has been added. We don't even have a hack squat, or a Smith machine. So I just make do with what I've got. And yeah, I'm the only, I'm one of a handful of girls who locally who compete, and probably the only one that competes as frequently as I do, and the only one with goals to make it my sole career. So yeah, it's okay. Could be better, could be worse. What are your goals for the next 2 years with competing? Now, I'm going to talk about this year. I'm going to talk very generally about the next 2-year plan. But nothing is set in stone, and therefore I'm not going to, I need to achieve this goal and then I'll set the next one and move on. So the first goal right now, turn pro, and I am aiming to do that on the 20th of October. So Sunday, 20th of October, I am turning IFBB Bikini Pro. I may or may not choose a pro show to do while I'm still in condition, immediately after. And then after that, I've said this a lot in the past and not gone through with it, but I really think I need to, and I will discuss this in a future video also, but I really need to take some time off after this prep to give my body a rest so that I can have more successful preps in the future. I've done back-to-back shows over the last year and a half, and I think it's time that I just give my body the downtime that it needs to reset. Now, I will talk more on this in a future video, but when I say downtime, I mean controlled reverse diet, maintaining a relatively lean physique, and increasing calories as high as we can. I'll expand on that in another video. Oh, and generally, well, I'm getting married in 2021, and therefore I won't be prepping around that time. So after I've taken some time off, then I would reassess. But obviously after I turn pro, the goal is to reach the Olympia. What made me start doing my own makeup for the stage? So that was purely cost effect. So I've always loved makeup. I always have watched YouTube videos like vloggers who do makeup tutorials. I think makeup is fascinating and amazing and fun to play with. And so I've always loved doing makeup, and I just decided one day it's costing me about $160 a show just to get my makeup done. Why don't I give it a go myself? So I did, and once I'd done it once myself, I haven't looked back. I don't know, I find it relaxing and less stressful knowing that I can do my makeup in my own time without having to rely on someone else. So it was purely cost effective, and it's become one of those things that it's less stressful as well. So bonus. How do you find living so far out of Melbourne? Now, saying so far out, 2 hours is still, it can still do a day trip to Melbourne. However, it ends up being a very long day. I have my moments. I live in a very small country town, and I won't be moving anytime soon. Honestly, I do love it here. I really do. This is where I was born and raised. This is where Jill was born and raised. Our families are both here. We have 2 huskies, and therefore to find property that has a decent sized backyard for the dogs, it's so much easier here. We have actually purchased a block of land to build a house on, and that titled back in January. And so we will be building a family home here, and the aim for that house is that it will be our forever home. So I honestly love it here. However, I do have my moments in terms of wishing I was closer to Melbourne. Now, there are a few reasons for this, but the main one is that because of what I do competing wise, and the fact that my life literally revolves around this industry, and the fact that I work from home and I spend a lot of time by myself. And then when I am around people, it's often people that I can't relate to. Therefore, sometimes I have moments where I get very upset and very lonely, because obviously Jill works a full-time job and I can't just hang off him all the time. And I miss my friends that I have in Melbourne, my friends that I have interstate, etc., that I can't just catch up for coffee with. I can't just, hey, do you want to train with me today? Or that type of thing. So often it gets very hard for me, and I do love being in Melbourne. But the reality is that we do love it here and our families are here. And to be honest, I think I would find it harder to be away from mum. So mum, if you're watching this, I love you. You're one of the reasons why I can't move. All right, I've been saving this question for now. Troy has put in a question asking me, what motivates and drives you? This is an interesting question, and it's one I've been asked many times before, and it's not one that I really have an answer for. You guys might find that really strange, but it's totally the truth. In terms of the word motivates, I don't think motivation is something that you should rely on. My motivation ebbs and flows. Some days I wake up and I can't wait to go to the gym. I am so motivated. I'm ready to go smash out a workout. I'm totally ready to be 100% on my diet, or perhaps I've gone and watched a comp and therefore I'm like super driven, ready to go, motivated, ready to train because I've watched this comp that I wasn't a part of. But I'm not motivated every day. I am disciplined every day. I am routined every day. And I use that discipline and that routine to keep me on track. Now, in terms of knowing what exactly motivates and drives me, I really don't have an answer. It's something that I can't describe. It's something that is part of me. It's something that it's a feeling. It's like I can't explain it. It's all I know is that I'm meant to be doing this. I have absolutely no explanation as to what drives me to keep pushing towards this, or why exactly I want to be successful in this sport. But it's just like this internal feeling and an emotion. I just know within my soul that this is what I'm meant to be doing. So for those of you who were wishing that I had some sort of crazy answer on how to stay motivated and how to be driven towards a goal like this, I just don't have one. It's just something that's part of me. Further to that, what does competing mean to you? Competing again, it's one of those questions. Competing gives me something to strive for. It gives me a focus. It gives me structure to my day because I have to structure out my meals and my training each day. It has allowed me to focus on achieving a goal that gives me so much satisfaction when I achieve it, whether that has been reaching a certain level of leanness, growing a particular muscle, getting up on stage and winning. Competing has just given me, I guess, a purpose for both my life and, on top of that, my career. I've just found my passion, and I can't explain exactly what it means to me, but all I can say is I love it so much, and I just enjoy the entire process of what it takes to get to the stage and to be in that level of conditioning. The dedication, it has taught me dedication, patience, discipline, so many things that I am so grateful for. So yeah, that's my answer to that question. What are your placings in previous comps? Now let me bring up my list. For those of you who don't know, I've actually done 15 comps already. Some of those have been with INBA, which is now referred to as ICN. In the INBA shows that I did, I had a couple, my first ever show, I placed 5th. I prepped myself for that show, so that was pretty cool. Following that, I got a 3rd placing. And then after that, with the INBA, I won a few shows and I earned my pro card at the Southern Cross Pro Qualifier, which is the expo show. And I won that and won my pro card. So that was pretty cool. Since moving to the IFBB, I had competed and placed at I have placed at every single show that I have done. I started out just doing the juniors lineup, and I won a few of those, which was really, really cool. And then it wasn't until last year that I actually won my first ever open, which was really cool. I did the Bendigo show and placed third there, and then a week later I stepped up onto the Amanda's all-female classic show, which is the mid-year now. That's what it's called this year now. It's called the mid-year pro qual instead. And I won my height class in that, and then narrowly missed out on the pro card. So that was cool. Since then, I have won the Victorian state titles. I won my height class at nationals. I placed second at New Zealand. And then I didn't have a placing here at Arnold's this year. But I also won the Arnold qualifier. So I've had quite a few first places, which is pretty cool, which is why I am so incredibly hungry for this pro card. I have had like that little bit of a taste of like that first place, and I'm so ready for the next step. So yeah, they're my placing so far, and yeah, 15 shows down. Do I have any sponsors? Yes, I do have a few sponsors. I'm fortunate enough to represent Riderwear, which is this awesome little cropped sweater that I'm wearing. You can use my code Ebony10 to get 10% off, or I'll put a link down in the description for you guys. I am also an ambassador for Spartan Sups, which you can use the same code for to get 10% off. And I'm really fortunate enough to have a partial sponsorship with Hair with Envy Zanita hair extensions for my hair, which I spoke about in my previous video. What are your future goals? AKA wedding, pro card, etc. Now, I already spoke about the pro card. The aim for that is to get it in October, and then following that, the goal with competing would be to make the Olympia and then win the Olympia. In terms of wedding and life, wedding is planned for March 2021, which is really exciting, and I actually already have my dress. I just happened to get it super, super early. I thought that it would take me ages and then I would be really picky, but first shop, third dress, done. So that's all sorted, which is super exciting. So I'm actually I went pretty much hell for leather with planning the wedding, so that now I can just chill and we can just pay things off. So the less stress, the better with that. And then in terms of career, I am now working purely for myself from home and doing a little bit of personal training as well. But the goal is to be fully online coaching bikini girls to do exactly what I'm doing, which is really cool. And that would be my full-time income to allow me to travel as a pro competitor. So that's the goal there. How are you finding your new coach? I've already sort of touched on this when I spoke before about how supportive my current coach is, and you guys would have seen I'm very, very happy with Troy. How much cardio are you doing? So up until recently, I was doing 90 minutes of steady state a day. Now that will sound like a lot to some people, it was incline treadmill walking. That will sound like a lot to people. However, the best thing about doing LISS is that it's not as taxing on the body as HIIT, and therefore you're able to give more to your sessions. The only problem with LISS is that it takes a considerable amount longer to burn the same amount of calories. If I was doing HIIT, it would be a lot less amount of time spent doing cardio, but therefore it would take away from my actual training sessions, and I would much rather push really hard in my training sessions than do the HIIT and not be able to push as hard, because the amount of calories that you can burn in a good weight session, I'd much prefer to do that. So that's why I was doing the 90 minutes a day. Again, I keep talking about this diet break that I'm doing, but my cardio is dropped right back down to, I think it was just 4 45-minute, after double check, but I think it was 4 45-minute LISS sessions a week on top of the 2 HIIT that I'm doing as well. So it's dropped right back in this little bit of a break. If you guys wanted me to explain a little bit more about LIT versus HIIT, LISS versus HIIT in another video, comment down below, and I'm more than happy to expand on that, but that's just my basic explanation. All right, so I'm just going to do 2 more questions in regards to my federation, and then I'm going to go ahead and wrap this video up because I've been filming for quite some time now. So last 2 questions, and I think they sort of go hand in hand. Why IFBB? and what do you like or dislike about other federations? So basically, why have I chosen IFBB? Why IFBB? Since I very first started competing, the look that I aspired to achieve is that of an IFBB bikini model. My OG idol in IFBB was Ashley Kay when she was on her 3 Olympia winning streak. That Ashley Kay was just the dream, and she was winning those Olympias back when I first started, and so I looked up to her. I loved her physique, and then I obviously got into the looking at comps and watching shows on YouTube and researching it, and that was the physique that I idolized. That's what I wanted to look like. That's what I aspired to achieve. So of course, that's why I chose IFBB, and that's why I eventually moved across from the INBA's ICN, because I didn't want to look like those girls. I wanted to look like an IFBB girl. So that's why I moved across to the federation. In terms of what I like and dislike about other federations, I have nothing against other competitors doing, like being a part of other, my sister's just gotten back from school and she's like looking at me like, I don't want to be in the video. So I have nothing against other federations at all. It's just that I personally don't like the look of the girls in the divisions of those federations. For example, WBFF bikini go for a softer look than what I like, and I don't really love the posing. I think it's incredible. I think the bikinis are amazing. I think that the glitz and glamour is absolutely incredible, and going to a show is an experience. If you haven't been, highly recommend going because it's full on. It's like a massively entertaining show and it's really cool, but just not for me. I like the structure of the IFBB posing in comparison. I guess that's the main other federation in Australia is IFBB and WBFF. So I don't really have anything else to compare it to because I haven't really been to any others except the ICN. And in terms of that, those girls are just a smaller frame and I like the amount of muscle that we carry. I will expand on that because I know that people will be asking, would you ever consider to go up to figure? And the answer is a hell no. I do not want to carry that amount of muscle. I like being in bikini because I'm still that smaller framed human. I can still fit in a size 6 to 8 clothing and I can dress normal and not have that huge amount of muscle. I think figure competitors are incredible. I love the posing. I love watching figure, but I don't personally want to look like that. So yeah, that's going to wrap up this Q&A session. I'm going to go ahead and start filming now and start editing and figure out how many videos I'm going to be putting out. But if you're still watching, I just want to say a massive thank you for sticking around to this point in time and watching this Q&A here. If you have any more questions, I would love to do another one in future. Otherwise, if you have any ideas for topics or you want me to expand on any questions that I answered in this Q&A, please comment down below or flick me a DM on Instagram. I would love to have a chat to you and get some ideas on content for this YouTube channel. This is the first time that I've been as consistent as I have been with posting, and I would like to keep that up. So the more people that are giving me positive feedback, the more likely that is to happen. So again, massive thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please throw me a like and subscribe to my channel so that you can see any future content, and I will see you in the next video.